Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this video is to help you use the quadratic formula to solve a quadratic function. So recall that the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and that's all over 2a. So then we need to identify what a, b, and c are. So we are equal to 0, so a is going to be 5, b is going to be negative 18, and c is going to be negative 3. So now we're going to plug and chug. So if I have negative b and b is negative 18, then the negative b is going to be a positive 18. So we have positive 18 plus or minus the square root of negative 18 squared minus 4 times 5 times negative 3. Except I'm going to change this to plus and negative because I don't like to make silly mistakes. And this is all going to be over 2 times 5. So my next step is to start simplifying underneath this square root. So I'm just going to copy everything down that I'm not using right now. So negative 18 squared is 324. And then negative 4 times 5 times negative 3 is 60, a positive 60, and this will all be over 10. So I'm going to continue to simplify underneath the square root. So I will have 18 plus a negative 384 over 10. And from here, I need to split this into the two solutions like we talked about in class, because I'm going to have the positive square root of 384 and the negative square root of 384. So I have 18 plus square root of 384 over 10 and 18 minus the square root of 384 over 10. And I can just plug and chug this into my calculator. And so you need to remember to type this in correctly and use the appropriate parentheses. So this one here will give me approximately 3.76. And this one will give approximately negative 0.16. And because we know the solutions to quadratic functions are the x-intercepts, we will write our answers as x-intercepts, where y is 0. So we'll work through one more of these real quick. This one is a little different than the first one because we're not equal to 0. So the function's not equal to 0. And we need to get it equal to 0. So I would add 2x to both sides, and I'm just going to write this plus 2x under the right term that I can combine it with, which would be the negative 6x. So I have x squared is x squared minus 4x minus 9, and that's equal to 0. So that's good. Now I can pick out my a, my b, and my c. So a is 1, b is negative 4, and c is negative 9. So now I just have to plug and chug everything into the quadratic formula. So I'm going to write it down first. And now I'm ready to plug and chug. So I've got negative b. So a negative 4 or a negative 4 would be positive 4. So I have 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 9. So I'm going to change this to plus and negative. And I'm going to put this over 2 times 1. So my next step is 4 plus a negative square root of 16 plus a negative 4 times 1 times negative 9 is 36. And 2 times 1 in the denominator is 2. So I'm going to continue to simplify in here. So I have 4 plus negative, 16 plus 36 is 52. And that's over 2. And again, this is where I have to split. When I'm ready to square root, I need to split it into the positive square root of 52 and the negative square root of 52. And when I type this into my calculator, I get that this is approximately 5.57, and this is approximately negative 0.157. And again, we're going to write our solutions like coordinate points or as x-intercepts, because we know the solutions to a quadratic function are the x-intercepts. If you have a question, please come see Mr. Bushman or Mrs. Fike before school tomorrow.